Mhm.
Okay. Hi, guys. Sorry. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining. This is Essence of Life, and today we're talking about how we view the world. I'm Amanda Armagast.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence.
So, if you guys have watched this series before, we're just going to go over some philosophical questions and then see how we view the world. I'm going to ask the questions, and I'll answer first, then Dr. Abbasi can answer second.
And or with other words, Amanda and I, we are going to have a fight about different aspect of how to look at one issue or another.
So, if this is our last podcast,
You know how it
now you
comes.
know why. Okay. Question number one. This is neuroscience and consciousness. How much of your mind do you think is really you versus what's programmed by others?
Oh,
And
mother.
hmm,
Oh, mother.
I think that's really tough. I want to say 50-50. I want to say half of my mind is me and half of it is programmed by others. Just being realistic, because obviously as a human, you want to believe that you're 100% you. But it's hard to be 100% you growing up in a society. You know what I mean? Like if I was growing up in the wilderness and I had no media, no parents telling me what to do, no friends shaping my decisions, no consequences besides consequences that directly impact myself, then I could say that I am 100% me. But at the end of the day, I'm not. I am very influenced by others and by rules, societal rules and things like that. Even to the point of trying to limit my ChatGPT use, knowing that it has a really negative environmental impact. Do you know about that? Because I just saw your face make a confused face.
Well, I'm confused about that. Our regular format for this podcast is going through many questions and so on. I don't believe we are going to go to any other question
That's
at
why
all.
I'm answering first.
And we could talk the whole week. I could talk the whole week about this and not be done with that.
Wait until the next one. It's even
There
heavier.
is no next one. I can assure you that
No,
because,
please. I really want to ask the next one.
well, okay, then I'm really going to be tortured because I am about to, like a volcano, to
Then
give
just
all
get it
the
out instead of giving us all of this pre-preparation. Tell me, what's your take?
how much activity is going on right now in your brain?
A lot.
Do you want to guess?
Tell me.
Few trillion nerve impulse a second. How much of that do you think in percentage right now you have consciousness and awareness about? Like you
Very
until,
little.
okay, until I ask you right now, you had no idea where your hand is right now. But now you think about it, now you know where your hand is. But the signal of where your hand is already going to your brain all the time. Wiggle your little toes. Are you doing it?
Mhm.
Until then, you do not have any consciousness or awareness that you even have a little toe. Now that you think about it, yes, you have a little toe and you can move it. All the things that it has something to do with that, with your active behavior, is less than 1% of your brain activity. Nine,
Wait, so are you saying that your mind and your brain are the same?
well, your mind is in your brain. Or do you
But
think
is your
mind?
mind your brain or are they two separate things?
No, no. Your mind, what you consider you, is a tiny, less than 0.5%
But the
of what.
question wasn't, tell me about your physical body. How much of your mind do you believe is you versus programmed by others?
Well, you're being impatient now.
Then get to it.
Okay, if you say one more thing, I'm going to go a billion year back. I'm going to go all the way to the dinosaurs and talk about how their brain is built, like the reptile brain that is like 100 million years old. is it doesn't have the cortex. For all practical purpose, nothing what a reptile does requires a consciousness. The consequent, even more active part of the reptiles who became dinosaurs, who became then the birds, as a matter of fact, you can cut most of the brain of a chicken away. And there was a famous chicken that after the head was chopped off above a certain area, that stood up, the rooster would go run, even hump other chickens and so on, mount other chicken, and became an attraction in 1920s.
Hmm.
So most of the thing our body does, our brain, our nervous system does is unconscious, doesn't require your mind. But your mind is not separated from it. Like you had no idea, you weren't thinking about, you had no awareness of your little toe or finger until I asked you to. Now, all of that is 1%. There are 99% of the things that your body, your brain does that you don't have even awareness. Now you can with training get access to that, like this with the meditation, with the yoga and so on. People can control the heart rate, they can control the blood pressure. It's possible. So you can get awareness, but what you consider you is a fuzzy, wide spread 1% of the activity that you with your conscious mind can access to. Now you are our awareness is made of two pieces. One is the pacemaker. That's what we call it. It's a area close to our brainstem. We call that reticular formation, RT. And lots of people do this pseudoscience about that. Oh, my reticular formation, and it's just a nice word to say to appear fancy, but it's a very loose network of what we call periaqueductal gray, meaning around the fourth aqueduct, fourth chamber of our brain, there are these loose cells that we know they just shoot this pacemaker. Pacemaker in the sense that they send a signal out and make other area of the brain respond to it, like a pacemaker. Okay? How do we know that? Because we know if you lose that, people lose consciousness. There are no coming back from that. If that area get injured or damaged, there's no way back. That person you know is gone. We know something else. We know there's somewhere above it that in the pons or pontine area, just above that, if that get damaged, people have this so-called locked-in syndrome. Have you heard of that?
I feel like I've heard of it, but tell me.
The locked-in syndrome, it was based, we got awareness from that from a patient who was in locked in. Until then, we thought they are all in coma. In the locked-in syndrome, not the preaqueductal gray and reticular formation are damaged, but some area above it. Because that area above it is damaged, nothing, they can do nothing. They hear everything, they feel everything, but they can do absolutely zero, nothing, except one thing. The muscle that controls eye to go up this way, not this way, is controlled by a nerve that goes below that damage. All this patient can do is do the eye up and down. And this unlucky, horrible situation patient could communicate with the nurse that like a code. If I go twice, it's a no. If I go once, it's a yes. And then they did a chart with the letters and so on. And the whole that person wrote a whole book about how to be in a locked-in syndrome. So your question was, repeat your question and I
No,
tell
you
you
repeat
what.
what you think my question is. Tell
Your
me what you think I'm asking because I'm going to rephrase it.
Okay, your question is what percentage of what we do is inherent to what we really want to do versus what is imposed on us from outside?
Yeah. How much of our it says mind, but you're hearing brain. So I'm going to say how much of your personality, like what you do, how you think, things like that is you, like because you that's how you naturally are, or is it programmed by others?
Well, I want to use that phrase. You're a sweet hippie. You believe in mind and consciousness and humanity. Most of physicists, neuroanatomists, most of philosophers, they don't believe even in free will. We don't
Immanuel
believe in,
Kant.
huh?
Immanuel Kant.
Can't believe in free will. He
Yeah.
was one of the very few that, he thought that there is a divine kind of intervention, and we have gotten our free will from the Lord Himself, and so on and so forth. But most of modern philosopher and neuroscientists and so on. So let me give you that we believe that the free will is an illusion, not in the sense that, okay, I want to lift up and take a zip of this. Was it really free will, or the neurochemical area in the bottom of the fourth ventricle of my brain said the concentration of the salt in your blood is getting high? I'm going to give you a signal to be thirsty.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to make you so thirsty that no matter how hard you try, you cannot not get a sip of this. Delicious.
You're making
Or,
me thirsty.
or even better, you I'm going to put you in an environment that you have to work hard, but you're tired. Now, I'm going to give you a caffeine here that whenever you take the caffeine, that pressure, that pain inside of you goes away. Then you can work more. Did I decide to drink Diet Mountain Dew versus just a sip of water? Or was it the environment that I was put in place brought me from different direction to do what I did?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's there. I don't think that it's 100% us. Like, I don't think that if I was me put on an island, I would still be me. I would obviously be a very different person if there were no social structures making me be who I am.
And it's not 50-50 either. Based most of physicists, neuroscientists, and so on, we do believe that free will is just an illusion. Now, let me go from the legal standpoint. If somebody has schizophrenia, what that means is that hear voices is insane. Somebody is insane. Kill somebody. There is actually a legal concept, not
Insanity.
guilty because of insanity.
Yeah.
That means you really didn't decide that. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about this person who was a good person, became a bad person, hurt a lot of people. It's a real story. I'm not going to go in depth of it. Was found to be guilty, but then found to be not guilty because he had a brain tumor in part of the brain that just changed this person.
Hmm.
That brain tumor was moved out, and later on, he did again the bad thing. Then he was guilty again. But then when they looked at it, they found that that tumor, same place is growing back. Then he found again not guilty. Now, is he guilty or is he not guilty? Did the tumor did the bad thing, or did he do the bad thing? What is the difference between him and his brain that has that tumor, and so on and so forth? Now, um, you drink alcohol, you drive, you kill somebody. You're not guilty for killing somebody, but you're guilty of knowing that alcohol can make you kill people, and yet you drink alcohol and you drive.
Yeah.
You see, um, the, on the legal side, we are being practical. The goal is, to prevent the future things. Doesn't matter where the origin of it is. Well, if you're have schizophrenia, you're violent, you kill somebody, you don't go to jail. You are innocent, but you're not going to be put back on the street either.
Right.
You're going to be locked up in a different place for good. Okay? Now, before we can talk about now, are you this is what you're asking. Am I a product of my environment? Or at certain point, do I decide to be this way or that way?
No, the question is how much of an influence does the environment have? Not yes or no, because obviously, yes, obviously the environment has a huge influence. But
Mhm.
how much of an influence does it have on you?
Um, and you've started with something like 50-50. What about 99.999999999, and possibly after 109, maybe a one or so that is coming from what all the things that in the universe that came to make us who we are right now. And maybe there is 0.00 and lots of zeros and then 1% chance that there is a free will. For a long time, that is the actual question you're asking is much deeper than this question, Amanda. The question is there a free will or not?
How
That
about,
is the actual question.
yeah, but the question that I'm asking, we can just stick with that one for simplicity.
No, but that question is by itself meaningless. That
But it's
question,
not meaningless. It's not meaningless because it's the start of a deeper question.
the actual question is, at this point, everything I do is a reaction to what's out there based on my everything that everybody else gave to me? Or is it truly somebody with my name inside of my brain sitting there and decide all things equal, I'm going to go this way and not that way? And what I'm telling you, there is never all thing equal in our brain. In our calculation of our brain, there is never ever all thing equal. There's always a reason. Our memory, maybe a dog bit me and I'm afraid of the dogs, and that's why I decide not to feed a dog versus stay away from a dog. Maybe um, a dog, I had a good memory with the dog as a child, and that decide me that the dog in need, I feed it rather than kick it, and so on and so forth. Um, the, the answer to your question is, if I have to be an absolute scientist, I have to say zero.
That's your answer to my
So that
question.
is most
Not
of
the answer, just your answer.
that is my answer of most of uh, scientists, most of physicists, most of really reputable, most of, not all of philosophers, but physicists who do think about this, they very unanimously say there is no free will. Now, there was a way out. That way out was quantum physics, that something can exist and not exist, and when you look at it, there is so-called decoherence that once you look at it becomes reality, that it can be in both places, and it's all statistic if the cat is alive or dead and so on and so forth. But even that, when you look at the mathematics of it, it is a statistical deterministic way of looking at the life and how universe has a start, universe has a middle, universe going to end, and nothing of what we do will change that.
But nothing is absolute. So you can't say that everything is because of your environment, because then you would have to say that if someone grows up in a brutal environment and that's the standard, like for example, in the Nazi era, and everyone had to throw rocks at one person because this person was a Jew. And but so you're saying that if someone didn't want to throw the rocks, it's not because of their like you can't make it an absolute. Nothing is an absolute. If I grew up in a country that was used to beating people, I still think I personally wouldn't want to beat people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And so it doesn't take our responsibility away. The same way that if somebody with a brain tumor kills a person, is still going to go to jail. Doesn't matter if it was him or it was a brain tumor, if it was something else. It doesn't matter if it was schizophrenia that caused a person harm another person. That doesn't shed the responsibility. You see, we are looking at it at a different point of view. I'm looking at it as a philosophical, physical, deterministic view that if you are a physicist, if you are a scientist, there's no question there. There is no free will. But then we can come out as a social, emotional, a societal part. And in that part, what's behind that is not really relevant. Is it your upbringing that made you a murderer? Doesn't matter. You're a murderer and you have to pay for it. You
But
see
the
what I'm
question
saying?
is, how much of your upbringing made you a murderer? What percent of that played into you becoming a
If you
murderer?
come
That was
from
the
this,
question.
if you come from the scientific part, 100% of your upbringing made you a murderer. But that is on the legal, emotional, societal part irrelevant.
Well, so then
Draw a line there. We
from
draw
your
a
argument, the same murderer, if he was born to different parents, same genetics, same everything, wouldn't be a murderer. So then,
most likely not. I don't know. I don't know. But see, these lines that you are drawing are very arbitrary. You know, I have an example for you. I saw a billboard, and on one side was like a like a chicken, and the other side was something like a reptile. In the middle, there were dogs, and then uh, it was a question as for being vegetarian against meat eaters. It says, where do you draw the line? And then I saw some jokes, memes on that, and it says, I am when I'm with my hot vegetarian girlfriend, then put the line right at the end, no meat. If I'm not without my hot vegetarian girlfriend, I put it between, cows and pigs and the dog. And then when I'm really hungry, the line goes all the way to the snake and reptiles. And then in the apocalyptic catastrophe, the line goes all the way, I eat them all. And then somebody made a joke as well, put a person, so I would eat even that in that situation. Okay, so what I'm telling you, there is no, on the scientific part, if you believe in physics, there is no free will and everything is what got you here. Now, on the societal part, there is an arbitrary line. And in this society, in the United States, we decided to put that line certain point. In some other societies, they put it some other place. They don't care if you're, they still would execute you if you do something bad, even if you had a bad upbringing, even if you had a brain tumor, even if you have schizophrenia, they still will hang you. They put their line arbitrary somewhere else.
yeah.
So I don't want us here in the United States to be so blind about that where we put the line is actually a natural, physical, very true line. I want us to understand this is what where we decided to put the line.
I think you're actually agreeing with me right now because that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, good.
Like your upbringing does have an impact, but even if it's against your society, it is still possible for you to be going against that. If the line is anyone can murder anyone, you're going to be executed and you're still a murderer, and then it has nothing to do with your upbringing. It has something to do with you being a murderer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we agree.
Yeah,
Then we
that's what I've
agree.
been saying this whole time.
Yeah.
No, yes, it is. You just wanted to understand the question differently.
I decide to understand the question differently. But this is not a question that is holly jolly. This is a deeper issue. How did you get this question even?
Okay, every time I choose a question, you do this same thing.
These are good questions, but how did you get this question? I mean, how
I
did you
always do
decide to use this question?
because I had a follow-up question actually.
Okay, go ahead. If you have time, we can do the follow-up question.
If we have time, it's up to you.
Yes, let's go.
Okay. The follow-up question is if your thoughts were visible, would people still trust you?
I'm going to let you start.
I think people would still trust me if my thoughts were visible. I'm pretty I'm pretty much as it comes, like whatever I'm thinking, I'm probably going to say something along those lines. I'm pretty straightforward as a human. I don't keep stuff hidden about who I am or anything like that. I'm pretty much an open book. So I think that people would still trust me if they could see my thoughts. Would people be offended if they could see my thoughts? Also, yes. That's the answer. Yeah,
Okay.
people would still trust me.
So, okay. Um, I'm just going to be the scientist and um, rationalist that I am based on my education or based on lots of factors and so on. Um, is there any other mammal that you have 8 billions of them living relatively peacefully together as we do? Like if you put like chimps, even bonobo, the most peaceful no, relative of us, bisons, and so on. There is a density of how many of them you can put in one place. There is nothing even close to density of human you can put together in one location, relatively living peaceful together. And the only reason for that is that 90%, 95% of our action, of our thoughts, of our um, behavior is based on creating harmony, even if nothing behind that is true.
Yep.
An average person lies 20 lies in every hour. That's the average number of lies every person says, but that is necessary for us to be able to live so close to each other. So I think you got my answer then, based on
I,
observation.
but the
Meaning,
question wasn't would people like you? Would people fight you? The question was would people trust you? Are you a
no,
trustworthy person?
absolutely not. If the people would know everything in anybody else's mind, they have done studies. The only reason we can live peacefully together and trust each other is not knowing everything what's in their mind. Like next time you're close to somebody you really like, go through just do a regular checklist on your 20 things that are in your mind and see if you are willing to disclose all those 20 things or how many of that are you willing to disclose to the person you think is closest to you. You will see that the only reason like my sister are getting along is biting their tongue and not saying 90% of the thing they want to really say to each other, and that 10% that they tell to each other make them fight 10 times a week. So, what causes harmony is that we don't really see each other's thoughts, and that's a necessary. I wouldn't say evil. It's not evil because fighting is evil. Causing damage is evil. Having these thoughts and feelings is not, in my opinion, is not evil. But if everybody would be an open book, there was no way we could live with each other in peace.
But it's not about peace, it's about trust. There's a lot of people that I can trust to do the wrong thing, and I don't live peacefully with those people. I don't like them, but I'm not going to be around them, but I'm also not a murdering person, so I'm not going to kill them. Like,
I have heard different stories about you.
oh yeah, is that so?
Now, okay, I think you need to understand. Um, I don't see them separately. Try living peacefully and trusting other people. I don't see them separately as you do. You see
But
them
aren't there people that
separate.
you live peacefully with and you don't trust them?
Absolutely. The 95% of the people we live like people I drive in the street trusting other people, drive the good way, the correct way, and so on, and
Mm-hmm.
so on. I don't know them, and none of them want to. really the follow the driving rules and street and automobile and regular rules. Everybody want to be first to go through the light and not care about and so on. Everybody wants to be faster and so on. But we come all together. We say these are the laws and so on, and we trust each other. Um, Even though we know truly people are selfish, they want to take the maximum out of for themselves and so
And
on.
those are the types of people that I'm thinking about in this question. Like, for example, there's someone that I know who is not trustworthy. This person is a lying cheater,
What?
stealer,
What?
who should be in jail. And I think actually my
I want to know who
opinion
that
is
person is now.
I you know who that person is. I'm
What?
not gonna say their name right now.
Okay, I'm going to call you right after this.
Hey, if I even said their initials, if I even said that their last name reminds me of a bird, you would know who I'm talking about.
Okay, well, okay.
This
So
is a lying cheater who should be in prison. But if I could see all of his thoughts, I actually might trust him more because then I would know what's coming. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's where we are going to disagree on that. You don't trust them because you see uh, only one tenth, 10% of what's really all the horrible thing that going in that mind. If you would see everything, you would have a justification to actually do harm to that person because you would think as a good person that's your duty to do harm to
Right.
that person.
But
So
if you could see their mind, if you could see their thoughts, then maybe you could live more peacefully because you could know to avoid that person.
yeah, I think it's not that well. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I just see that if I know somebody is going to kill 100 people, for example, what kind of person would I be not to kill that person, where I am absolutely convinced that person is going to kill 100 people?
But what if you knew this person's a business owner? Like, let's say he owns a shop, and every time someone buys something, he pockets 25 cents. So it's not like hurting someone, it's not killing someone, but in the long run, it is hurting someone. If you
Well,
could
well,
see these thoughts, then you can know to avoid that person
okay,
and you
well,
could live more
is
peacefully.
it your duty now to report that person where you know it's stealing from everybody? Is it your duty? Does it make you a good person or bad person? Knowing that this person is stealing from everybody and you don't report that person.
You can report that. I never said you can't.
Okay, would you do that if you would
Yeah.
see that? You would report that person?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
What's the point you're
Then
making?
I'm just seeing our police officers are being really bugged. Every 10 seconds, somebody reports somebody else.
Good. They can do the job that they're hired for. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I'm not feeling bad for the police officers for having to arrest the criminals. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, there's a movie you will like, The Invention of Lying. You should watch that movie. Then
Yeah.
you get my idea of why, and not my idea, it's a neurobiological behavioral scientist idea why lying and covering our intention, true intention, is part of our nature and why is not a bad thing
Well,
actually.
there's also a burden to lying. Every lie that you tell, you have to carry. Like, if you tell someone my building is 50,000 square feet and it's actually 10,000 square feet, now you have to lie to every single person moving forward. And you have to remember this lie that you told. Otherwise, you're going to get caught up in your lying. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be a
and
whole
then there are
spiral.
some people who are good at it, some people are not good at it. Now you're so specific. Who are you talking about? These are
No,
I
these are all
already
different situations. These are all different people. The world's full of
50,000
lies.
versus 10,000. Okay, okay. I'm going to call you right after this. Okay, I'm too curious now. Let's wrap this up because I want to call you and ask you about those specific things.
Thank you guys for watching. This was Essence of Life, and we talked about how we view the world. I'm Amanda Armagast.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi, and the actual interesting part is going to start right after this.
Just turn off the live. We can just stay on.
What do I do?
Turn off the live.
Turn off.